The biggest lie agency founders tell themselves is, it's faster if I do it myself. The truth is, this might be true the first time, but as an agency founder, you have to learn to delegate or your business will not scale and you will be stuck doing everything in the business. I'm going to show you the exact systems I use to implement delegation and team to help me grow my 2x Inc. 5000 business and have helped hundreds of other clients do the same. My name is Bartnick. I teach founders systems, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to delegate your business. So let's jump right in to do a screen share. The first thing you need to do is really understand what a system is. Now, I show in more depth what that is down below. You can grab a video specifically on systemizing your business. But in this video, I just want to go over that high level, what a system is. So in the first piece of it, you have, and you can see this in the screen share down below, you have an order come in. So an order can be client-facing order, or it can be an internal project, which I would still consider an order. Now, once that project or order is entered, you need someone to do the work. Once the work is done, you need to be able to deliver that work in whatever manner is best for your business. And then you want to get feedback on the completed work. Now that in its whole is a system. Now we have to how do we take the system and delegate it to other people so that we have consistent quality and really strong results. So in step one, we have some sort of work that needs to be done, whether that's a client order or an internal project. Now, the key piece to be successful here is we need a few things. We need an owner. So for this work to be done, it needs to be assigned to an owner. Now, the agency founder trap is you are the owner, and we do not want you to be the owner in this scenario. We want you to learn how to make other people be that owner. The next piece of this is we need a due date. So whoever owns it needs to know when it's actually due. This is going to be part of the project management that we're going to do is we're going to assign a task to someone and we're going to give them a due date. Now, if you run a busy team like me, they have probably multiple orders, multiple projects, multiple things that need to be done. So a key piece of understanding this process is also assigning them a priority to this. So what I mean by this is if they have client work and they have internal work and you say, hey, Scott, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, they're going to say, okay, no problem. I'm going to drop everything because the owner or the founder of the business just asked me to do something. But instead, if you say, hey, John, I need this project done. I need it done in the next week. And I think that this is kind of a priority 5. Like, make sure to put client projects first. We don't want them to drop off. And if you have any issues fulfilling it, then let me know. But this is, that's the priority. So that is an important piece because otherwise they'll drop 5 other things, nothing gets done, and then it's like a chase back and forth. So this is a really key piece is having an ownership, a due date, and a priority. Now, I use some other tools in here to really kind of align this. So let's kind of put this, these are all kind of just required. These would typically be in a project management tool that are going to help you delegate a project. Now on that project, you're also going to have some sort of standards. So it's basically order details or standards. So you can call it whatever you want, but this is going to say what needs to be done. For this example, we'll call it an order details. So we're going to have kind of order details come in. Then with there, you're going to have your owner, your due date, and your priority. So let's move this over a little bit. Now, this all probably seems pretty simple, but we've already hit a lot of things that people miss. Now, this might seem pretty simple, but we've already kind of talked through a lot of things that people miss. When it comes to order details, this is a key piece as well. So this is all really one bundle. So if I was going to email someone and assign them a project, this is what should be in there. And so we're going to kind of tie this all into one communication. Now, for my team, we use project management tools. We use Asana. Notion's a really good one. There's a couple other ones. This isn't really about the tool. I can do another video. If you have specific questions, put a comment down below. Also, as part of the Founder System AI course and community, I give a lot of my tools away for free, my standard operating procedures, my templates, checklists. Grab that down below and you can grab something specific to this video as well. But anyways, so they're coming in and we have these details. Now, the order details are super critical. That's going to be owner, due date, probably your standards. So what you actually want done, all kind of tied in here. Now, what I would do is I would group all this into one thing and use a project management tool. So we'll come in here and you can set up this board however you want. So this is set up specifically, I just did a different video on onboarding a client. So if this was a client order, this is the flow. But for this example, let's change this and we can do it live to an internal project. So let's say you have a marketing team and you need them to do ad creative and you need them to do all of these different projects. Now, if it's a one-off project, it's going to go into a project board like this. So you would have basically, we'll come in here and we'll do ideas would be a critical piece. So maybe this is a marketing board and we're going to put all of our ideas here, but we're not going to assign the ideas yet. What we want to do is we want to have basically a priority, a P1. So P1, and then you can have P2, you can even have P3. P2, and let's go ahead and put in P3. So these are the priorities. So if I come in here, and why project management is so powerful is because it combines everything you need to do into one kind of system. It's already systemized for you. So you put the name of the project. So let's just put video. So they're going to edit a video. Now, obviously, if it's project management, we have to assign it to someone. So this are the key pieces of delegation. And it seems so simple when you're looking at it this way, but we just forget about it when we're communicating it. So we're going to say that I'm in charge of this. Again, the goal is to delegate it. So here, let me put someone else. I'll just put Otter. And then we're going to say that I want this done in a week. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in any key details to the project right in here. So in my description, a lot of my projects have templates, so they're already preset. People already know what to do. And then I'm going to assign this and say that it's a P2. Now, the reason why we have priorities is people need to know what they need to finish first and how important it is to the business. And this is really, really important with delegation. And I'm going to show you a little bit more why in a second, including the daily task SOP that I've created that makes this so much clearer. But the reason why this is so important is because if you have 10 priority ones, you have no priority ones. Now, each employee can have their own priority one, but you can't have one employee have 10 priority ones plus a regular daily operations and daily projects. It just doesn't work. And client work and meetings, it doesn't work. So you have one priority one per employee, maybe two if you're talking about like a quarterly or a monthly, and then the rest are going to be priority two and then priority three. And so what we're trying to do is they're understand that the majority of their time and effort needs to go into priority one. So they're going to go to priority one, they're going to do priority one, then they're going to move to priority two. And it really has to work that way. It's just, there's no other way to efficiently do this. Now, if we come back in here, what happens when we're giving projects, especially if that team member works with clients, if they have a regular kind of day-to-day job and projects, if their job is not just projects, this can all still become really confusing. So this all kind of sits, this is really just one thing. This would be like that project in that project management section. So it's just like that actual assigned project that we just did in Asana. But what we want to have sit above this is actually going to be a daily SOP. So this is really where a lot of success comes in, and understanding how to build and delegate full teams versus just delegate a single project. Because it's fairly easy to go hire a freelancer on Upwork or Fiverr and give them a project. And then once they're done, they go to the next project. And once they're done, you send them the next project. But same thing as I mentioned here, even in that scenario, you're probably not sending 30 projects to a freelancer and say, hey, get them back to me tomorrow, because that just wouldn't make sense. If you're going to work on Fiverr, you're usually ordering one at a time, and you have this flow that's natural, and you're assigning it to them. You're giving them a due date. You're giving them the order details. So again, while this all seems simple, it's just so easily forgotten that we just need to reiterate. Now, what we use to kind of overarching delegate everything that a team member needs to do is what we call a daily task or daily SOP. So I have this for free down below, and I do call this a daily SOP. It does look a little complicated, and I have a video specifically going over this, but there's just no way I can talk about properly delegating to your team without highlighting this. So basically what it does is it's assigned to a specific individual. So it's basically their job role, and we just update it as we need to. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is it has key things, what their job is, why they're doing it, goals for their metrics. This example is a sales one, but it just gives you kind of that clear. And then what their daily job is. So we include things like priority. We include things about how much time they should be spending on something. So what that actual job is. Now, when it comes to projects, why this is so important is projects need to be in this daily SOP. So this, imagine this is their just normal job, and then you're asking them to do something additional. It's a project. So if they're working with clients, they're doing customer service, they're doing all of these pieces, that's perfectly fine. But then when they work with clients, they have projects. So that's where this project board comes in. So this project management board is all of this pulls together when you add in the projects and the priorities here. And so that's why this is so important, is as part of their job, look at this employee. They have a whole bunch of responsibilities, daily tasks, weekly tasks, monthly tasks. So when you just think you're assigning a project for them, remember that they have all the other things you assign to them. And this is how we make sure that things don't get dropped. So in this daily SOP, we say every week you need to spend about 2 hours on projects. So that's the time we've allotted for them to work on projects versus their regular day. And then of that, it's a priority 6, meaning that if there is something like a hot lead follow-up, which is a priority 10 for this person, they shouldn't be working on the projects because the hot lead is the sales, which feeds the engine, which grows the business. So we just need to understand as leadership how we're giving those priorities. Those priorities allow us to successfully delegate. So again, this would just link to that project board, which we have right here, and basically pulls it all together. So let's go through this one more time just to kind of summarize and clean everything up. So basically, let's make this a little bigger for you. So in this example, we're gonna have a project to come in. So right now we have this project. This is your order. Then when we give that order, we want to basically, let's come in here. It's gonna be part of that daily SOP. So you don't really have to do much on setting expectations from there. And then once you give them the project, ideally through project management, you're giving them all of the information they need. So they need order details, they need owner, they need due date, they need how important is this project, and then the standards behind it, which again are just pretty much the order details, but it's, what does good look like. Then what they do is they would probably use Asana or your project management tool to deliver it. So one of the things we didn't put in here is the next step. So it'd be, let's do send for approval. So the next stage could be send for approval. And so basically, instead of them just saying done and it's finished, if you need to approve it or you have a manager that's going to approve it, they're going to take their P1, they're going to say, okay, it's done, send for approval. They'll drag it to the send for approval, and then they'll assign it to whoever needs to approve it. Ideally, not you, not the founder. Hopefully you have a mid-level executive in there that can do it, but as you're scaling up, this could be you, and you'll go ahead and you'll make sure that the project's done to your satisfaction, you're good to go. And then you, as that approver, will give feedback. So if we go back to this entire process, feedback is a critical part. So now they've delivered it through Asana or through the project management tool, and then your job is to give feedback. So if it's great, it's perfect, it's good to go, then send it. Now the feedback is how you actually end up delegating the majority of your work to other people, because what happens is the first time it's not going to be that good, or they just didn't quite understand your instructions because it's the first time you've ever given them. The second time, it should be fairly good. You can do a quick call and talk through the expectations, do a Loom video, talk through the expectations, have them rework it, whatever, and then go back for approval again, which would be that feedback loop. This feedback loop is what builds a real system. So as we have this feedback loop, they're gonna get better and better. And what happens is after 3 or 4 times, if I'm the one that's approving, I will say, you've done this 3 or 4 times. I've been happy with the last 3. I've had no concerns. You're now good to go. You do not need my feedback. You will now build this in. So that's the difference between like a one-time project versus that repeated task. So, and it's the same way every time we give an employee a task. One of the things that I did recently on a call with someone who was trying to delegate is they were trying to delegate 1,000 things. So this is a huge list, and it's too much for an individual to take on. So typically what we're doing is we're only training them on one at a time. So they have one new step in here. So when you hire someone, that they can't learn all of this. And that's also why we have skill set on this side. So we'll basically say, we've trained you on this, you're good to go. So it all really works together. Now, if you want to grab the standard daily SOP for free, it's down below. And if you want to learn more about how to systemize your business and really scale through things like delegation and proper systems, check out the course, the Founder Systems AI, and the community as well. Thank you.